Olá, bom dia. Meu nome é Oluni. Bem-vindo. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the Barca agreement between the federal governments of Nigeria and the federal government of Brazil regarding direct flights between the two countries. So, why this route, and is this route really going to benefit Nigerians? Let's examine that. Before we go into the substance, I just want to highlight the fact that there is a history of direct flights between Brazil and Nigeria. In the 80s and 90s, the Brazilian carrier Varig operated direct flights to Lagos, Nigeria, providing a direct air link between the two countries. Additionally, Nigeria Airways, Nigeria's former national carrier, maintained limited connections between Latin America and Nigeria during the same period. Now that we know that there has been a history of direct flights between Lagos, Nigeria and Sao Paulo, Brazil, it's easy to understand why there might be a desire or a market for these routes. Sao Paulo is the largest city in South America by a lot of metrics. It's largest by geography and it's largest by population. So one can understand why it will be home to a significant number of Nigerians. These Nigerians living in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or in other parts of Brazil would definitely enjoy the direct flights between Sao Paulo and Lagos, Nigeria. Before now, these Nigerians who call Brazil home have had to fly indirectly to other countries in Africa before eventually landing in Lagos, Nigeria. For example, Air Morocco is a very popular choice whereby they have to fly to Morocco from Sao Paulo before taking another flight to Nigeria. Another popular option is the Angolan national carrier that offers direct flights from Sao Paulo to Luanda and also offers flights from Luanda in Angola to Lagos, Nigeria. Ethiopia Airlines is the third popular option that offers direct flights from Sao Paulo to Addis Ababa and from Addis to Lagos or to Enugu or to Kano. Now, another less popular option is South Africa Airways that offers flights from Cape Town to Sao Paulo and from Johannesburg to Sao Paulo. So, in essence, this direct flight from Lagos to Sao Paulo will be very useful for Nigerians who live in Brazil and other South American countries. Before now, there are no direct flights from any country or any location in West Africa to the South American continent. So, I believe there's a decent number of Nigerians in other countries in South America, in addition to Brazil. I know there are Nigerians living in Argentina, in Uruguay, in Paraguay, in Chile, in Bolivia, in Peru, in Venezuela, and so on. Now, another angle is the Caribbean. So there are a good number of Nigerians living in Caribbean countries, but these typically have to fly through the Middle East on very long flights, and they usually tend to avoid flying through North America, US and Canada, or flying through Western Europe because these places usually require very strict transit visas, and Nigerians would usually prefer to transit through a country that would not require transit visas. It seems as of now, Brazil does not require transit visas, so if a Nigerian were to fly from Lagos to Sao Paulo, it would be much easier for them to then reach their destination in any of the Caribbean countries, considering that Sao Paulo is a major hub and has a lot of direct flights to countries in South America and the Caribbean. Another angle is economic growth. Now, Brazil is a massive country in a lot of ways. It's massive in terms of economy. Its GDP is usually around $2 trillion per year. And it's also massive in terms of population. It's home to over 200 million people. It's also massive in terms of geography. The country is the largest in South America by far. So there is a lot of potential synergy between Brazil and Nigeria. When this flight starts, it will trigger curiosity on the side of Brazilians who would be interested in Nigeria, and that would lead to a lot of other things, tourism and business. And it will also trigger curiosity on the side of Nigerians who would want to explore what Brazil has to offer. Now that the flight would be more direct, people would find it more convenient to consider places like Rio de Janeiro, like Florianopolis as destinations for holiday. Unlike when the flights are not direct, people tend to look elsewhere into destinations like Dubai, like London, like Amsterdam, where there are direct flights from Nigeria to those places. Another factor that I think would trigger a lot of traffic is the airpiece effect. So before now, airpiece being a Nigerian airline usually disrupts international routes. The strongest example I can think about is Lagos to London or Abuja to London. So before now, no Nigerian airline was flying directly from Nigeria to the UK, and the foreign airline that were operating this route were charging very high and in foreign currency. So it was eventually very expensive for Nigerians to fly directly from Nigeria to the UK. But since Airpeace restarted this route, prices have fallen significantly and is known to charge in Nigerian currency, which is the Naira. So I believe that with the mere fact that Airpeace will be present on this route from Nigeria to Brazil and charging in Naira, it's definitely going to increase the volume of interest from Nigerians about Brazil generally. Another angle about something that would happen eventually is that I know the Nigerian Minister of Aviation has announced that they're going to upgrade the main terminal of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. And one of the features they're trying to build into the new terminal is the transit facility. Currently, it's very challenging for somebody in West Africa to transit through the Lagos airport because there are no direct airside transit facilities. So if someone is traveling from Ghana to Luanda, for example, and they want to transit through Nigeria, when they land in Nigeria, they have to get out of the plane, clear immigration and customs, get their luggage and check in again, which is not convenient. So because the Murtala airport as it is currently, at least the old terminal, is not designed for direct airside transit. So with the fact that the government is upgrading the main terminal and building a proper direct airside transit facility, it would make the Lagos-Sao Paulo route even more viable, considering the fact that there are no current flights to Brazil from anywhere in West Africa. So people in Senegal, in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in any other countries that have direct flight to Nigeria would be able to enjoy a more direct route to South America in general. So which will be shorter for them and hopefully cheaper, considering the fact that Morocco is further, Angola is further, South Africa is further, and Ethiopia is definitely further from West Africa. So the only little thing that gives me little skepticism is the fact that why has it taken so long for this route to be reignited? I want to imagine that if the demand was so strong, the biggest carrier in Brazil, which is LATAM, would have restarted this route before now. So the fact that this giant carrier has not shown interest in this route makes me to wonder if the market demand for this route is that strong. But either way, time will tell. Considering the government of Nigeria is excited and considering Airpeace is excited, I can only imagine that the demand is there and it will get stronger. And there will be a lot of growth, exchanges, tourism and business between the two regions of the world, West Africa and South America. So that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Remember to subscribe. Cheers.